Latoya Maddox here, and of course, this is Journey where I'm sharing my experience and just my journey as an entrepreneur as a means to be an encouragement as I am being encouraged by people around me, by what I know God is speaking to my heart. So just being able to deposit some nuggets along the way as I walk this journey in confidence and in strength. So y'all, sometimes we be excited about things and we be all gung-ho making plans. We are just following what it is in our hearts. I mean, really consistent about what it is we want to do. Whatever it is, it could be something like just a vacation with the family. It could be going to see a concert. I mean, it could be small things. It could be big things like this road of entrepreneurship. But here's what I'm learning. You have to stay consistent and you got to stay focused on what it is you're wanting to do, whatever that may be. And I have a good example. The other day, my sons and I were making plans for something we want to do in the future. But we're doing it for a specific reason. But my son had some things he wanted to do, including that. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we can make an alteration so that you'd be able to do this thing that you want to do along with what we're planning to do. But my son quickly said, Mom, no, we gotta stay focused on what it is we intend to do. The other things that I want to do, I need to make those happen on my own, but they don't need to be included in the thing that we're planning because we're planning that for a specific purpose. I was like, good point. You know who else I saw do this? Esther. I've been reading Esther for the past few weeks, man. Esther is amazing. I love her entrepreneur mindset. Even though she was queen, in the episode before, we talked about how her entrepreneur mindset, where she had to take on risk, because that's the key word that differentiates an entrepreneur from a business person is the risk an entrepreneur has to take financially. And we saw in last week's episode when I spoke about Esther's entrepreneur mindset, we saw how Esther's mindset, she just had to adopt and be comfortable with taking risk. I also saw another part of Esther today. I saw how committed and focused she was. And that's something we all need, especially as entrepreneurs, because there are so many things that'll be coming your way. Different ideas, opportunities, so many things that could become, they can be good, but they can also be things that will deter you from your overall goal. And I saw Esther live this out where she stayed focused. When she found out that the Jews were about to be annihilated, she was afraid, but she went to the king. And here's what happened. Initially, the king, he welcomed her and he told her she can come forward, she can speak with him. But he then offered her half the kingdom. I don't know about y'all, but half the kingdom sound pretty good. I'm like, half the kingdom? What? Now, you all know Esther was bad for the king, for her to show up at a time when she was not invited, when this was against the law. It was against the law to go and try and speak to the king unless he invited you. But Esther did that. And not only did he tell her she can come forward to speak, he offered her half the kingdom. I have to continue to study the book of Esther because this woman is phenomenal. Now I see why a whole book is named after her. For you to get the king to be okay with you breaking the law, and while you're breaking the law, he offers you half the kingdom, you bad. I could learn a lot from you. And so with that being said, Esther didn't flinch. She didn't accept it. She said, instead, I'd like for you to come to a banquet. Okay, so the first thing I saw with Esther is Esther had a vision and she stayed true to that. Esther made certain she understood the vision. She understood the assignment. So first thing as entrepreneurs is, do we have a vision? Do we have a goal, a mission statement? Do we have a vision and mission statement? I have a vision and mission statement, and today I think what God is challenging me to do is take them out, read them, make sure they're plain, make sure they are like a picture that other people can understand, that people who come in to work in the business can understand the vision and the mission clearly. So if you don't have a vision and a mission as an entrepreneur, I invite you to do that today, and I think that's what God is speaking to my heart. So write your vision and mission and make a commitment to stay focused on them and do everything you can to accomplish yours. Make sure you stay like you're concrete about it. You're not tossed by everything that comes your way and, oh, Oh, maybe add this. No. Write a vision, write a mission, stay clear to it, and make sure you understand it. You understand the assignment and be able to clearly communicate it to other people so that you're communicating it so clearly, it's like you're painting a picture. Because I saw Pastor Keon, I was watching a clip with him with his staff. He had a leadership meeting with them, and he said, when you communicate your vision and your mission, or when you communicate a new idea, anything, you have to communicate it in a way that it represents a picture. Because you have to communicate in picture, because your words may not accurately describe what it is you want to do. So people would be able to follow it better if they can see like a picture. So write down your vision and mission. Make sure you understand it and make sure you can communicate it clearly. So that's my assignment for tonight, to do that. So Esther understood the vision, she understood the mission, and she stuck to it. She didn't get distracted. She understood the assignment very well. The other thing Esther did that I found very powerful and encouraging is Esther understood the power of timing. Now, she knew she went to see the king. The king was sitting on his throne. He was surrounded by a lot of people. He was already frustrated after dealing with people all day. So she knew, I needed to get this man in an environment where he's relaxed, where he's comfortable, where I have his full attention, where he's probably more relatable to me as a person rather than a king. Because notice what he said to her, I want to give you the kingdom. He was in his role as a king. But what Esther needed is something that she knew was personal to her, her family. So she needed, I guess, and this was brilliant, she invited him to something that was personal, just her, him, and the perpetrator. So Esther taught me the power of timing and looking around or reading the room and understanding, is this the right place to address this particular topic? So as you stay focused on your mission and your vision, you have to be able to find the spaces that is best for you to communicate it in. Even with your leaders, Pastor Keon didn't do this in a church setting. He spoke with his leaders in a small room, an intimate session where he had their full attention and where he was enrolled as leader, not pastor, because that's a different thing. So I saw it in Pastor Keon, but Esther was a great example as well. And then from, I guess, the conversation, my son and I was just the two of us in that space where we were able to talk about it with no distraction. And that made it easier even for him to focus, because maybe if we were out somewhere where there's a lot of distraction and stimulation, he wouldn't have come to that place to say, no, Mom, let's not include that. Let's stay focused on this particular thing right here. And so it's good to have people around you to challenge you to do that. But as a leader, as an entrepreneur, I need to make sure that I'm cultivating that on my own and that I'm not afraid to say that doesn't fit at this particular time. That's not our focus. That's not what we want to do. Because in the mission and vision, there are going to be times when you have a smaller thing that you need to target, and you need to protect that because it's overall going to protect the bigger vision and the bigger mission. And so we saw that Esther was able to, she had a vision and mission written down. She was able to, she knew the timing wasn't right. So when she invited the king over, she was able to explain to him in a more intimate and personal setting what it is that she wanted. And guess what? When he came to her to the banquet, what's the first thing he did? He offered her the kingdom again. So he was still thinking a kingdom mindset, kingdom agenda, but Esther knew that she wanted something that was a lot more important than that. Esther wanted to save her people. The Jewish people were at risk of being annihilated by one of the king's top men. So Esther had to be very gentle with this. She had to use wisdom. She had to make sure not too many people were aware of what she was about to do. She had to keep it concealed and protected until the right time. And she knew the right time was just when the three of them were together, so that the perpetrator didn't have an excuse, but the king was in his right frame of mind. But again, he still offered her something that would have taken her away from the mission and the vision that she knew she had. And so you have to protect it. And so you have to say no to things that will not allow you to walk in that. So tonight, this is my assignment for tonight, to make sure my mission and vision statement is clear. Now, when the king offered her the kingdom the second time, she said no. But she was able to tell him, this is what I want. And once he found out what the truth was, that he needed time to digest that. The third thing Esther did, she didn't operate in greed. Because if we're operating in greed and we want it all, we can get a lot of stuff, but we may not get the actual thing that we want. So Esther was able to say, no, that sounds like a good idea, but I don't want it all. Right now I want this one thing. And I need to make certain that I don't accept other things that's going to distract me from this one powerful thing of protecting my people, which is protecting generations, legacy, protecting opportunity for the people. So Esther stayed focused on that. She didn't allow her flesh and this the desire to have other things to cloud that opportunity she had to function and be effective and stand up on behalf of her people. So we have to be careful that we're not operating in greed where we want it all. I mean, it's possible for us to get all these things, and the king probably still gave her half the kingdom. But what she knew is that if she had said yes to accepting the kingdom, that might have taken away the king's drive to give her what she wanted, because then he might have said, now look, you want too much. I've already given you the king half the kingdom. Now you want me to save your people too? But she stayed focused. And so I know all of us can be tempted with that, just wanting it all so quickly. But we have to take time and understand that things come in stages, and stay focused on what it is that is priority in this season and in this stage. And understand that even as entrepreneurs, the scripture reminds us that if we seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, all these things will be added unto us. And we don't have to walk in greed to try and grab it all at one time. So today, I'm just reminding you, as God is reminding me, to stay focused. And to stay focused, you need to understand the assignment. Write the vision down and make it plain. Make sure you understand and make sure you can communicate it clearly with the people around you, the people on your team, the people that God has selected that are going to come and join your team in the future. Because remember, I was at a conference last week, and the fabulous Colleen Oterio said, the thing that you're looking for is not a person, it's a role. It's a description of a role that's going to be filled. And so God has already designed roles for you for time to come. And he's already recruited the people for those roles. So you just have to continue to protect the vision and the mission so that you are continually walking on the path that he has already designed for you. So write your mission and your vision statement down like Esther did. And she stayed true to it. Esther understood the power of timing, that things have an appropriate time, and don't try to get it all at once. And then 3, don't operate in greed. Just take your time. Don't try to take on too much, because greed could also represent you trying to take on too much that you can't actually focus on the thing God has called you to do. So that's important too. And I always like to leave this saying with you. Aristotle says this. He says, we are what we repeatedly do. He also says that excellence is not just an act, it's a habit. Latoya Maddox said, let's do the things that God has called us to do. Let's do them repeatedly. So then we would be seen as what he's created us to be seen as, image bearers of his glory. The other thing is, excellence is in our DNA. So let's live like it.